Hi there, good morning. Welcome back here on Prime Morning. If you just joined us here on the show, a very good morning to you and want to believe you enjoyed every conversation right from the beginning till now. My next conversation is one very significant conversation that has to do with how people are representing their countries in various nations. And on the show today, we want to get into that country, find out exactly what has been going on and also what it means to be from that part of the world. Now, it's going to be an exciting one. You can send in your messages and be a part of the conversation. Our WhatsApp line is active. It's on the screens. You can also send your messages on our social media pages. It's Joy Prime TV on Facebook, Instagram, and on Twitter. Those are places that you can join us. And our Valentine promotion is still ongoing. You can also be a part of it. And, you never can tell. It might just be your partner having that exclusive weekend stay in one of the luxurious hotels here in the country. There's also a spa treatment for you as well. And we got a dinner for two, all right? So it could be you. Just send us your pictures. Let us know. We'll put it on the social media page. You go, you like it, you comment, you share with your friends, and we're good to go. All right, so it may have been actually, put in a song to even make it more popular. Now, from the Western South America, it's a beautiful country with a population of over 34 million, with its capital and largest city as Lima. Now, the name Peru may ring a bell musically, but it's the 19th largest community, or if you like, a country in the world and third largest in South America. Well, my guest on the show today happens to be the very affable, a lover of music, and he loves to dance as well at large. A true representation of the country Peru. His Excellency Abel Antonio Cardenas Tuppia is my guest on the show today. Hello, sir. Good morning.
Hello, good morning. Thank you very much for having me this morning, and thank you for all our viewers to give us the opportunity to enter to their houses and give us some information about my country. I hope you're going to enjoy the show and get some more insights about Peru.
Especially Peru.
Para. Yes.
The someone I do actually, but that's a good one. Anyway, so you're representing over 34 million people here in the country where you're coming from. How does it mean for you to be doing that responsibility here?
Well, as you can imagine, and as anybody can imagine, it's not just a responsibility, but a very big honor. It's a very big honor for anybody to represent not just their countries, but also their population. The people where we come from, our culture, our ways of seeing the world, our ways of being, our gastronomy, our arts, everything, You were talking about dances some minutes ago, and also those things. It's a great honor to represent all those things, where you come from, all your historical past, and all your projections to the future. I think that's the biggest honor I've ever had in my life.
One of the major things that come to play with this kind of responsibility, that honor that is done you, is how best you're able to integrate whatever it is that is happening in your country, and by evaluation, try as much as possible to see it from other point of view in terms of governance. In your case, how has it been like in Peru, viewing it from here in Ghana?
Well, let me tell you that, as you all are aware right now, we are living a small crisis in my country. We're living a difficult situation. On the 7th of December, ex-President Pedro Castillo tried to make a coup d'etat. Fortunately, it failed. He is in prison now according to our laws. He was impeached by the Congress. And in a constitutional succession, we have a new president, President Dina Boluarte. This is the first time in 200 years of independence that Peru has a female as a president. This is our first female president. Right now we are facing some protests and riots that unfortunately are becoming violent on the streets. We are trying to pacify the country. The president and the police officers are trying to do as much as they can in order to do it in a way that cannot be violent, because the idea is not to repress the protests. We must not forget that they are also Peruvian citizens, just like the other group. So the idea is to pacify it. We are trying to see if a negotiation is possible. We are going to have elections very soon. The Congress is discussing that at this very moment. And I hope that with all this, things are going to come back to normal in Peru. Now, answering your question completely, as you can imagine, this protests and these, let's say, political issues are not exclusive from my country. We are living them all over the world. We are having several issues, several problems. Where, of course, we are talking about different processes. You know, those are different things, but the origins can be traced. You know, because I think all the problems that we are facing might have a common origin. I'm not saying that they do, because we would need a little bit more of evaluation in order to really locate the origin of this. But I think that it might be, the origin might be in this, let's say, big portions of populations that have been left out by our systems. You know, one important thing is that we need to know that when you put a system in place in order to rule a government, or in order to rule your relations, your trade, your economy, your politics, and everything, most of the time this system is going to work for the majority of the population.
Absolutely.
But it's impossible that it's going to work for everybody. You know, so we need to make an extra effort as a state, as a government, in order also to provide for those people which were not included in the system and integrate them to the system. Of course, this cannot be by force. You know, things are options, but I need to give them options so so the population can choose and be integrated as well. I think that the main problem that we are facing right now has an origin there, that there were, let's say, portions of the population of the world that were left out of the system and were not properly integrated, and they are now feeling like neglected and forgotten. And that is the reason that we are having these reactions, right, that in some cases are becoming violent. Now, it doesn't mean that there is nothing to do. On the contrary, this is an alert. This is an alert for us, for all the people that work in governments like myself, in order to realize that we cannot forget these portions of people. We cannot just left out people from the system. What we need to do is to integrate them. Now, this is something that we are beginning to be aware of, and I am sure that not just in my country, but in all the rest of countries of the world, is something that governments are going to begin to take into consideration in order to put policies that are going to be more of integration in this, let's say, if we can call it, in these realms of development. I don't know if it's a good choice of words, but don't forget that development is something, development is an option, of course. The option is the state's responsibility to give you the option. But the one who has to take the option is you. I give you the option, you have to take it. If you don't take it, I mean, it's your choice.
Your decision,
you know? So that is also something important. While the state must take responsibility for trying to integrate these groups of people, we also must know that these groups of people and everybody is responsible for their own actions. We all must take responsibility for what we are doing. As long as we all are responsible, I think that this is going to work and we are going to be able to solve all the problems. I'm not saying that we're going to live in paradise, but at least we are going to be more integrated. And I think that this is going to work in a better way, you know. Don't forget, responsibility comes from a Latin word. The Latin word responsa. Responsa means answer. So it's the capacity you have to answer what you have done. So this is what we need now. Responsibility from both parts.
Yeah. Would you put this on the doorstep of world leaders? I mean, you've mentioned that it's not particular about, to your country only. We've seen insurgencies come up in the U.S. where a certain president was almost impeached. You know, he got out of office and they're still trying as much as possible to put him behind bars. I mean, we've seen Burkina Faso. We've seen other countries also go through this. Every single time it has to do with world leaders and how their viewpoint in terms of making sure that citizens get what they want. Would you say that in that case, world leaders have failed to a large extent, or it's something that the citizens can be blamed as well?
No. As I said, we have to trace the origins. You know, I think, let's not forget that we all share a common nature because we all are humans. You know, and we have a common nature. So we share also common problems, and we also share common interests. You know, we all want to eat. You know, we all want to feed our families. We all want to have a good health. We all want to have an education. It's not something that only the Western world or only Africa wants. No, we all want the same things. So we are talking about common problems, right? The point is, if we have common problems, why not be looking for common solutions?
Exactly.
You know, I mean, it's something that we all should be sharing. Now, one important thing is that we should share experiences. You know why? Because when you share the experience you've had, you are giving the alert to some other country, which could be a friend country, to avoid some problems that you had before.
Yeah.
Because you already knew what happened, and you might have an idea why it happened. So that's something really important, and I think that that is something that the world is trying to share now. That is a reason why international organizations like the Organization of American States or the African Union or the same United Nations, you know, they all have these committees in which they are talking about these aspects and these things in order to share common experiences and strengthen and increase our democratical point of view and our democratical development. We all share this idea that without democracy there is no development. We all share that. So if we all share the same idea, if we all agree on that, why not protecting democracy? You know, I mean, it's something that we should do commonly. You know, that's a common responsibility of the world.
Some of the rippling effects when it comes to this, I mean, your country, Peru, has a very thriving economy. In case of some of these things, you know, how do you view the economic situation of the country from where you're sitting, looking back at home and what is happening? I mean, it could be likened to other countries and what they go through as well, but in your case.
First, we have to say that the whole world is facing an economic crisis.
Yeah.
You know, after these 2 years of pandemics that we all stopped producing, because that's the truth, the production of the world decreased very severely. We lost lots of jobs, many factories, companies, and business broke, and we had to shut down a very big portion of the economical production of the world. That's one thing. The second one is the problems that we have been facing because of the war we had in Ukraine and Russia. That also decreased many of the products that we are used to have. You know, in the case of my country, fertilizers, wheat, stuff like that, right? Petroleum. So we all are facing an economical crisis. So economy is challenging for the whole world right now. We are facing a whole challenge. But we also know what to do with this challenge, because this is not the first time we are facing an economical crisis, right? So we have an idea of what to do in order for economy to come back to normal, to put it back on track. The point is not putting back economy on track. The point is putting back economy on track and being able to secure the economy against this kind of problems again. Because to put back something in track is not difficult. You only need new investments again. You only need to restart your productions, open new factories, etc., etc. We all know that. The point is how I make this how I make this sustainable in time. So it's not going to be so affected. It's not going to be so sensitive to what happens around. So that is the challenge. And that is also why, as I said before, international organizations are right now thinking about that. We also have think tanks that are trying to see what is going on and how to avoid this to happen again.
Now, let's look at the youth in your country. What's the most thing that the youth actually look up to when it comes to development of individuals, making sure that they also get to realize that, okay, there's a country that is looking out for our interests?
Well, you know, when you are young, you know, this is something absolutely normal. Young people want to change the world, right? Because they have the full energy.
That has always been the tag.
Yeah, so that is absolutely normal. But we know that the world is a little difficult to be changed. But the point is that one of the biggest interests of youth, not just in my country, all over the world, is to have options, to have chances. I remember that the United Nations, for example, has this idea of levels of freedom. Because what is freedom? Freedom is the capacity that you have to choose. If I tell you, look, my friend, you can choose between this flag and this flag alone. Do you have the capacity to choose? No, because I'm just giving you one choice.
One choice, yeah.
And it means you're not free. So if you can choose between this flag and that flag, then you have two choices, you are free. But if I give you the chance to choose between 4, 5, 6, 10, 20, 1 million, so you are more free. So there are levels of freedom. The more options you have, the more free you are. So you be free is something that sounds general, but it sounds something that can be measured. Measured on what? Measured on the quantity of options you have in order to find or achieve your goals. That is exactly what young people and youth is looking for right now, being free. But being free doesn't mean doing whatever they want.
Yeah.
No, it means having as many options as they can in order to find their own development and their own happiness. Now the point is, are we giving them these options or we are not? So that is the point. And most of the time when you see groups of young people which show their discomfort to the measures or whatever the government or the state is doing, usually has to do with this. They don't feel they have options. So they don't feel free. So when they request, when they are asking asking for freedom, the truth is that what they are asking for is options. I need to have options to have a good development. There are no options, development, and as we spoke some minutes ago, development is a path that you have to choose. You cannot be forced to be developed.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen like that. It doesn't work like that. So we need to give them options. And I think that's the challenge right now. And that is why you see very big portions of young people, in the youth in general in the world, that are showing a lot of discomfort. Many people say that it's because young people want to change the world, so they are rebellious. No, it's because they are looking for options. And they don't feel they are getting all the options that they should need in order to achieve their own goals. And of course, it's not just the government and it's not just the state, the one who has to provide these options. It's also the private sector. So we have, let's say, a common goal. We have a common work to fulfill together in order to give our youth more options, in order to make our youth more free.
Okay, if you just join us here on the show, my guest is the one and only, the ambassador to Ghana, and he's from Peru. So you know about all of that. So if you just join us here on the show, we're having conversation, range of other issues that you can be part of. You can also send us your messages and let us know what you think about the conversation we're having here. And we're entreating you once again to send in your pictures for the Val's Day promotion. It's very exciting. If you have a partner, I mean, there's a point for you to make sure that you're able to also, get something for yourself in celebration of Val's Day, which is the 14th of February. Once again, you know what to do. Send us your pictures to our WhatsApp line. We'll put them out there on social media. You go like it, you comment on it, and then you're good to go. All right, that's what it is. Now, Ambassador, let's talk about the issue of culture. I don't know how different yours is from what you've seen here. You've been here for like 3 years and counting. Are there similarities, things you've seen in terms of your culture that makes it look like, okay, you are far away from home, but you're home?
Of course, there are a lot of similarities. First of all, when we talk about culture, this is something that we have to consider. Most of the time we try to point out the differences, right? Because we all like to feel special, right? We all like to feel like, oh my God, my culture is incredible, which is true. However, we have more similarities than we all tend to believe. In the case of Ghana, for example, during my 3 years here, I have realized that you have a very rich, very, very rich culture, which is very ancient as well. Peru has the most ancient culture in America. With Caral, the Caral culture, Caral has 5,000 years of antiquity.
Whoa.
So it's very, very old. However, you do too. Look, the other day I was in Chai Hills, and I realized I was checking that because there are caves there, right?
Yeah.
You have to climb some mountains and check some caves. And inside the caves, you can find how that tribe Chai used to live there, right? And how they were organized, how the cave was organized. The cave in the outer part, you had the army, then you had the women, then you have the children, then you had the old people, then you had the royal family and everything, and the people that were producing were somewhere else, so they were also protected by everybody, etc., etc. So production, and the food of the tribe was protected too. This Chai family, this Chai tribe, is 5,000 years of antiquity too. It's 5,000 years old. And 5,000 years, you already had a political system and a political organization It was in a cave, it's true, but it was an organization. You could see a political organization there. So you already had a culture. So it means that if even if I can say that Peru has the ancient and very ancient culture, Ghana has it too, you know. So we have a lot of similarities like that. Another similarity that we can find is that we like to eat, and we like to eat good. You Ghanaians like to eat as well, you know. I have been, during my 3 years here, I have tasted so many Ghanaian foods that I have come to love. You know,
you're
like,
keeping the names, or you're just
yes,
tasting
of
them?
course,
You have
of
some of
course.
the names?
Yeah, of
like
course.
what?
Palava sauce, you know, I
Okay.
love the palava sauce. And
The contomere?
The contomere, not just in palava sauce, but the contomere with some other stews as well. You
Okay.
know? I love groundnut soup with omotuo.
Oh,
I love.
you didn't say you better.
What about What about the TZ with ayoyo?
Oh, you've
soup?
tried TZ too.
With ayoyo soup.
Yeah.
Amazing. Banku with okra soup. You know, I prefer the okra soup than the okra stew.
Oh, Your Excellency, you've done a lot too.
Of course, we cannot stop mentioning the goat light soup with fufu, right? Then we are talking. Well, but as you can see, you have a lot of dishes, and your gastronomy is very well done. You have a very good gastronomy. My country has the second most varied gastronomy of the planet.
Oh.
That's why we Peruvians like to eat, and we like to taste new flavors. Why? Because our gastronomy is very varied. For you to have an idea, according to some studies, if you eat a Peruvian dish for breakfast, a Peruvian dish for lunch, and a Peruvian dish for dinner, you can eat, without repeating the food, the next 30 years of your life.
Really?
Yes.
That's a lot of varieties.
Yes, that's a lot of varieties. But that's something that has an explanation. For example, how many kinds of potatoes do you know?
Okay, I know about a sweet potato.
No, sweet potato is not a potato. Sweet potato is another variety.
Okay.
But let's suppose it's a potato. How many do you know?
I think two.
Two. Do you know how many kinds
There
of
are a lot of-
potatoes we have in Peru?
How many?
Think about a number and exaggerate it.
Okay, from where you're coming from, maybe 100?
We have 6,000 kinds
Oh,
of
wow.
potatoes. From those 6,000 kinds of potatoes, 3,000 are eatable. The other 3,000 are poisonous. From those 3,000 eatable, you can find in a regular day in a market around 800 varieties of potatoes. So when your mom tells you, go to the market and buy potatoes, you have to ask what kind.
Lot of them.
Because other way, you are going to come back with the potatoes and your mom is going to tell
Well,
you,
no,
this is
tell
not
you.
what I wanted.
Yeah.
You see? So just by boiling potatoes, you already have 3,000 dishes.
Wow. You can do that for many years to come.
Exactly. Don't forget that the origin of potatoes is my country. That's the origin we grew potatoes first in Peru. Then it was expanded to the rest of the world. But the origin was there. That is why we have so many. You know, we have 6,000
That's interesting.
kinds. And we have so much, and the variety of food also obeys to our big territory. With that, as you just said it, Peru is the third largest country in South America. It's a big country. We have different weathers, you know, and of course the production is completely different from region to region, and that gives you a different kind of food from region to region as well. And that also gives the Peruvian in general a character of wanting to taste new flavors. You know, we Peruvians like to eat. It's quite noticeable, right? But the point is that we do. And that is the reason why when I came here to Ghana, I realized that we have a lot of common flavors. You know, we have lots of common flavors. There are many, many things. For example, the palava sauce that is made with contomere, of course, but with fish, right? Yeah. We have something a kind of similar that is made with chicken that we call ají de gallina. But we don't put contomere. What we put there is a yellow pepper that we have. Oh. But if you see that stew, it's very similar. And of course, we have a lot of influence from Africa in our food as well. You know, we like to eat intestines, for example. You know, we have a dish which name is anticucho, which is the heart of the cow, you know, that is grilled. Yeah, and we have also, oh my God, you see, I'm talking and now I'm beginning to salivate.
Oh, do you sometimes miss home food? Home?
Oh yes, of course I do. You know, of course I do. But let me tell you something. Even though it's impossible not to miss your home, it's impossible not to miss your country. That's absolutely normal. However, it doesn't mean that I don't feel happy here. Okay, on the contrary, Ghana is an amazing place, and you have one amazing, let's say, advantage in front of all the rest of the world. The advantage that you have is not just your amazing agriculture, because you have a blessed land.
Yeah.
Everything you put here is going to grow,
Yeah.
right? You have great food, you have great places to go, you know, I mean, you can even make a safari here, which is something really nice. But before all that, what you really have is nice people. You know, Ghanaians in general are very welcoming. You are very welcoming people. You are nice, you are good, you know, from the heart. That is something that we can be used as an incredible advantage. Because wherever you go in the world, you're going to find nice people, but these nice people are nice to you because they are trying to sell you something, right? Of course, they have to smile at you, and because that's a smile technique, and that's a
whatever they're selling.
Yeah, that's a sales technique, right?
Yeah.
No, but in the case of Ghana, that's an authentic thing. You know, Ghanaian people in general are like that. You are every time smiling. You are all the time trying to be happy, and you are people of faith. You know, I mean, you see a lot of faith in Ghanaian people. You know, whenever you go out on a Sunday, you are not going to see anybody on the street because everybody's at church, right? So there is a lot of faith. Those are things that are very, very special, and they make of Ghana a unique country.
Your Excellency, so I'm checking the records. I mean, and it's because you mentioned faith, and I'm checking the records of Peru, and 94.5% Christianity. We have 76.0% Catholicism, and then we have 18.5% other Christian. You have 5.1% no religion. That's less. You have 0.4% other. Just opposing that to where we are now, and the fact that there's even the need for us to build a cathedral and national identity. In Peru, would you say if this was being instituted, the idea of cathedral, just to intensify our faith, like you mentioned, if anything like this is going on in Peru, it's something you as an ambassador, you would want to agree to it?
Look, religion is a very important part of a person's life, right? And of course, religion is also a very important part of a culture of a country. Why? Because religion is what brings you in unity. You know, religion has this particularity. It unites people, right? Maybe also soccer, right? but you don't have faith in soccer.
Yeah.
But religion does. It unites people. And that is why it's so important. Now, my country, we are mostly Catholic, okay? It doesn't mean that it's let's say, the super religion of the world, but that's who we are. That's how we identify ourselves. And most of us are Christians. The same thing happens here in Ghana. Most of you are also Christians, right? You have also a very big number, which is, let's say, the biggest minority that are Muslims. In Peru, we have very few Muslims. As a matter of fact, the only Muslims I've known in Peru were the diplomats from the embassies of Qatar, Saudi Arabia.
Okay, you know. Obviously
Of course. But there are very few. Now, what brings you this idea is that in my country, unity through religion, it's a little easier than in Ghana, for example. However, you have made an amazing, and that's why I was talking about being people of faith, because here you have made an amazing work in terms of unity between interreligious unity. Why? Because you see Muslims and Christians getting along very, very well. I had the chance to see that when I went to Legon campus.
Okay.
You know, in Legon you have a Muslim community. But the Muslim community, they make very common activities with the Christian community. And they all get along very well. They both bring food, they have a nice time, they talk, they hug each other, they share. That is something really, really important. Because yet again, faith is something very important for people's development. But faith can also be used in order to divide.
Yeah.
So when you use faith to divide people, then you are misusing the religion, misusing the faith. In this case, in Ghana, you use it for all the opposite. You use it to unite.
Yeah.
So this unity use of faith is very, very easy to be seen here. And I think that's also another advantage. Now, faith has to do with everything we do in life. You know, if you do something and you do not have faith in what you are doing, you are dead. Now, we have to begin thinking also that we give faith to things without noticing. For example, when you watch TV, okay, let's suppose you are watching the news, you are watching CNN, and suddenly on the screen appears Joe Biden, the President of the United States, right? Have you ever thought that maybe that guy that is on the screen is not Joe Biden? Maybe it's another one.
Yeah.
Maybe Joe Biden is black. I don't know. No, you never thought that.
Yeah.
That screen showed you that Joe Biden is that guy, so you believe it because you have faith in what you see there. You see? So that is the magic of all the means of communications, of social media and all this stuff. You give faith to people.
Okay.
You see? So it's a very big responsibility. Huh? This is a very big responsibility because when people hear you or when people hear me through your screen, they believe what I'm saying. They are not going to doubt it. They believe that, yes, I represent Peru. They are not going to say, maybe that guy, he looks like Indian, you know, maybe he's not Peru. No, because you said I'm Peruvian, they believe it.
Yeah.
You see? So that gives you a very big responsibility in front, not just of your people, but in front of the world. Because the development of the world has to do with faith. And faith right now has to do with social media as well. You see? Before, let's say, 30 years ago, faith had to do with religion. You have faith, oh, you go to the church, you know, you have faith, you talk to your pastor, or you talk to your priest. Now faith has to do with all these things that you project, all these things that you inform, all these things that you tell people, and people don't doubt it. They just believe it.
Interesting. And well, we're just about wrapping up. And wrapping up, I want to find out a few things about, you know, what you do for leisure. Do you go to the parties? Do you listen to music?
Well, I'm not
You
much.
play football?
I like to swim. I am not much a party person. I like to sing as well. I really like to sing. That's something I enjoy. I like to go to the movies. I like to read as well. I like to listen to music, and since I arrived to Ghana, I have begun to listen to Afrobeat, which is a very interesting, very nice, you know, I am beginning to learn some Chui words also by...
Okay, which one of them do you, are you not too perfect, but, you know, you're just okay?
Oh, well, I don't know. What do you
It's
mean
saying-
by... It is saying, eh, eh, eh.
Okay, and what did he?
Oh, I didn't know that one.
I'm asking if you've eaten today.
Oh, very important. You see, how couldn't I answer that?
Well,
question?
it's because you told me how much food you like.
I need to be taking Chui classes right now. I might starve here without that.
I know.
No,
Interesting.
but there are a lot of things that have to do also with for example, the reason why I began to learn some of the Chui words is because I'm interested in language. That's one thing. But the second is that there is a lot of wisdom there. Look, I was reading a book about the Ashanti Kingdom and the formation of the Ashanti Kingdom. You know, the story of Nana Osei Tutu, the first, and all those things. And I found in that book lots of phrases like, you know, these old, ancient, wise phrases,
wise sayings,
that are incredibly, incredibly deep. For example, there is a phrase that says that when somebody hits your head too much, your neck becomes stronger. That's something interesting. So they are not pointing out the idea that somebody's hitting your head. No, they are pointing out that your neck is getting stronger. So it's something good out of something bad. Another saying that I read in this book that I found it incredibly deep is that when you are born in a hill, it's easier for you to get taller, which is something really good, you know. That is so inspirational. That is so wise. We don't have those kind of sayings in Spanish. They are really, really deep, you know. And there are a lot of wisdom in these phrases, as long as in your symbolism as well. You know, when you see the Adinkra symbols, for example, the Adinkra symbols are incredibly deep. One of my favorites is this duck that is looking back and taking an egg. That is Sankofa.
Okay.
Right? Sankofa, if you translate Sankofa into English,
symbols.
yeah, the Adinkra symbols. If you translate Sankofa into English, it would be something like go back and bring it.
Yeah.
When I read the meaning first, when I just arrived to Ghana, the translation was tradition. No, the translation is not tradition. Because tradition is only looking back where you come from. No, Sankofa means go back and bring it. It's not just go back. It's not just look back. It's you go back and bring all that wisdom and you put it here in the present, so you use it. You see?
That's an interesting one there.
That is something that no other symbol has.
Yeah.
Only this one. Well, at least to my knowledge. I mean, maybe there's somebody which is going to tell me that I'm wrong. But according to me, you see that kind of wisdom you have here. So that is the reason why, for example, when you talk about your culture, when you talk about the culture of Ghana, I think that there are a lot of things that we can share.
Okay. All right. Very interesting conversation there. And this is where we end up. But any quick message you want to give to Ghanaians, Peruvians, especially with all what is happening over there as well before?
Well, something important that we all have to remember is that we all are brothers and sisters, right? We all are we belong to the human race, so we have to treat each other the same way. You know, we all deserve respect. You, me, and everybody. You know, even if we don't think the same, even if we don't believe in the same things, even if we don't have the same background, or even if we don't have the same color. We all deserve respect, and as long as we respect each other, we are going to have a peaceful world, and we are going to be able to develop ourselves. You know, sometimes it's hard to respect people that you don't understand. It's hard to respect ideas that you don't understand and you don't share. But it's an effort that it's worth. It's worthy, it's worthwhile. You need to make that effort. We all have to respect each other and try to get along, you know, because together we are strong. Together we're going to be able to develop. Fighting or being separated or promoting hatred is not going to lead us anywhere.
Your Excellency, many thanks for giving us time to invade your office.
On the contrary, on the contrary. Thank you very much for coming. I really appreciate it.
Great. And that's going to be all for this conversation here with His Excellency Antonio Abel Tuppia. Now, he's the Peru ambassador to Ghana, and he's been here for 3 years and still counting. And, whenever you're out there and you're looking for a family or whatever it is, a country you want to go rest and have a good time, you may probably want to consider Peru. There's so many things you can learn from there as well. Until then, thanks for watching. We still have some more coming up right here on the show. This is Prime Morning here on Joy Prime. We're still reminding you that you can go ahead and send us your pictures for the Val's Day celebration. Now we're giving you the opportunity to enjoy some good times with your partner. We've got a spa treatment. We have a luxurious stay at a hotel here in Accra, in a very luxurious hotel. And then also we have a dinner for two. Any of them can be yours. All you need to do is to send your pictures and share, like them, go to our social media pages and be a part of that. We're coming up with some more right here on the show. Stay with us.